Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Momentum, the podcast where we sit down with interesting and successful community members in order to have conversations that will inspire and empower the next generation of our community's leaders. I'm your host, Victor Braca, and in this episode, I sit down with Avi Houllou, the CEO of iBuy, a globally leading electronics distributor. Avi shares his journey from humble beginnings to leading a company that works with major brands like Sony, Apple, and Dell as one of their top distributors. We dive into the resilience required to build everything back from scratch, even from negative, after losing everything in his business.
Lost everything. Took mortgages on my homes, even put my own personal money back into the business, everything. So I wasn't even starting from scratch. I was starting from negative, tens of millions of dollars.
Join us today as Avi discusses the importance of persistence, the power of adaptability, and his amazing commitment to our community. This episode is packed with insights into taking risks, overcoming setbacks, and building a legacy of meaningful growth. Enjoy! Avi, welcome to Momentum.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you on. There's a lot to unpack with you in terms of business, community involvement, and I want to hopefully get through all of it, so we'll see. So for those who don't know you, tell me a little bit about what you do.
So I'm a distributor for all the major brands, Apple, in electronics, Apple, LG, Sony, Samsung, Microsoft, Dell, Lenovo. We distribute it for them. So a wholesaler or the store that doesn't buy enough volume, particularly especially with Apple also, they won't sell you unless you're buying a really high amount, a really nice volume of Apple, which is not, and even so, it's still not easy to get open, almost impossible to get open. So they would send you to a distributor like us. We're worldwide distributors for Latin America, USA, Europe, Asia. So a store or a wholesaler or someone who's looking to purchase and the manufacturer is not looking to sell them directly, they send them to us.
Nice. And you started the company directly? You started the company yourself?
Yeah, we also have a couple of other divisions. We have we sell direct to consumer on the marketplaces. So we sell on Amazon, eBay, Walmart, Target, all the marketplaces. And then we're the sole distributor for HSN QVC, the shopping channel. For all Apple and Beats, and I started off in photo and cameras, which you wouldn't think is even a business anymore these days.
Right.
It used to be huge when I started. Everything was about cameras, but there still is a nice amount of business, and it's just that we take a much bigger part of the industry right now. We're a much bigger percentage, but it's still there's still a nice business for it. Actually, there's a lot of people still buying professional cameras, and even the kids nowadays are
Like
still
me.
Yeah, even the kids, they're buying retro cameras now, and
Right.
it's very hot. It's very hot. Actually, became very hot and in item again right now.
Nice. Thank God. So it's doing well. So we talk to a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs who say that their early days, their school life, their first jobs really influenced, their knowledge, their fundamentals in business. So I want to hear, was that the case for you?
Yeah, most definitely so. I mean, I started off. I mean, I was actually in college, and I started off in a job. I was a salesperson in a place called Photographic.
Sure.
And I was working part time and in college part time. I was after school. Right after school, I finished school, and I was working and doing college. And I was a salesperson over there. I was hustling, trying to make a living. I was planning on getting married, but that's shame. I was going out seriously and working hard. And the place, the owners decided to close it down. And it was right after, it was in I think maybe November 99, October 99.
Right.
It was
then.
right after I got married. I got married August,
wow.
a couple of months before. And they shut down, and I decided, to reopen with one of the partners and one of the salespeople there. His stepbrother had four partners, and then one of the brothers was also an investor. So we had four partners started off together, and I said I was married without any income.
Yeah, no choice.
Nothing coming in. I had no choice, right? And it's easier also when you're young. You got to take the risks when you're young and before you have children.
For sure.
And responsibilities. So I jumped in, and we started with $10,000 and 5 partners. And over the years, Baruch Hashem, the company grew. I bought out all the partners, and now I'm a solo, and
Nice.
We adapted and changed a lot over the years, obviously. But we started off as a mail order company. Back
Right.
in the day, you guys probably don't even know. Most kids probably don't even know about it. There used to be magazines with cameras, and that's how we used to advertise. We used to advertise in the magazines, and customers used to call us a mail order, and then we would sell them over the phone. We'd have salespeople upselling them, and then we adapted over the years. We started selling online. We did a lot of business on our websites. We then started selling on marketplaces in about 2012, 2013. We started selling on the marketplaces, and we then started becoming distributors because we were moving a lot of volume. So we opened up with a lot of the manufacturers directly and started focusing on distribution for the manufacturers.
So tell me, you're working at this company, while you're in college, and then they shut it down because they're not seeing economic growth. In order to sustain the company, what gives you the courage? What gave you the courage to start your own venture?
First of all, I had no choice. I had to
Right.
I had to pay the bills, and
Well, I mean, you
was
could have
married.
gotten another job. Why did you start your own company?
I said when I'm young, first of all, I was very ambitious, especially growing up in a wealthy community like we are. Seeing money and people all around me, Baruch Hashem, wealthy, and it just made me very driven and from a very young age. And I said I want to really succeed, and I have to make it big. I said I have to take the chance as a young person without kids and without any major responsibilities. This is the time to do it. If I'm gonna do it any time in my life, this is the time to do it. And I said I either jump in and do it, or it may never have the opportunity. So
Right.
we did it, and Baruch Hashem blessed us.
That's great. Yeah, to realize at that young age that that's your prime opportunity to do it. It's an important thing. It's hard for people, I think, it's hard for young adults to notice that, and if you're 17, 18, 25, 30, whatever it is, and you want to keep your steady job and you want to, keep getting that salary, save up money, be conservative, but then to take that big risk at the young age, it's commendable. So awesome. So can you tell me a little bit about the early days of the company, growing the company, building it from the ground up? You said you joined with 4 other partners?
Yeah,
Right. So
correct.
how was that? You're starting a company from scratch. How did you differentiate yourself? How did you set yourself apart?
So back in the day, it was really pretty much all about pricing. So you had to make sure you were the lowest price in the magazine. It was
Right.
done like 2-3 months in advance. So you were almost guessing what the costs were going to drop to or go up to at that
wow.
time. It was different world, literally a different world.
Right.
And like I said, the times adapted, and we went online. We started doing our own website. We did like $400 million in sales on our own websites. Right now, we don't even do too much business on our own websites. It's really more marketplaces, and then obviously the distribution and the shopping channels. But the time evolved and changed. When we started, it was just in the magazines, like I said, and you had to really had foresight 2-3 months in advance. You had to prepare the ads, and they would come out literally 2-3 months afterwards. And
Right.
it was almost like a guessing game. You didn't even know what the pricing and the availability was going to be on the cameras. And you advertise it, and then you were there with 10, 15, more than 10, 15, about 10, 15, maybe 20 competitors in the magazine. And you had to have creative ads to try to get customers in, and then always try to have the lowest price. But it was really almost like a guessing game back then, because you were doing it like 3
Right.
months in advance.
So how do you reach profitability if you're having to undercut everybody? It's a race to the bottom, it sounds like.
So we started back in the day, like a lot of people in the community.
Sure.
We started off. It was back in the day was upselling. We were selling accessories and stuff,
Right.
and that's how we made profit. So there's no one around doing that anymore
right.
back then. But there were a ton of people doing it. I actually worked at Photographic. There was a big place called activism. Ton of people in the community used to work there. I went there actually for a few days before I opened, because I wanted to first try to see, when I was out of a job. I said, let me go as a salesperson, try other places. And when I went there, I felt I had to actually give it a chance.
Right.
But it was a big thing back in the day, nationwide. Abe's the Main. There were a ton of places where the salespeople in the community always worked. Even for me, when I started off, I had literally hundreds of kids from the community
Right.
working by me. And we, and the salespeople were there. They worked on commission, so they were very hungry and ambitious. And the more profit they made, the more they got paid. So they were very aggressive in upselling and making profits on the customers.
On the goods, right?
Yeah.
For sure. So, tell me about some of the setbacks you faced while growing your company. This was the same company, right? The one that you started just after you ended that first job to where you are now. So tell me about some of the setbacks you experienced along the way. How did you learn from them? How did you have that, future forward mindset to keep moving forward?
Well, there were plenty of setbacks, really. I mean, even within the first year, two of my partners at that time, we just started off, and two of my partners decided that they wanted to do real estate. It was too stressful for them, and they wanted to do real estate, and we had to buy them out. It was a nice sum of money. They put $10,000 each, and we bought them out with a nice sum of money within less than a year, about 8-9 months in. And obviously, all the other work fell onto me, and there was one other partner and a silent partner as well. Silent partner wasn't really too involved. It was me and another partner. So my other partner was really handling the warehouse and the logistics. I was handling all the sales, advertising, purchasing, customer service, and I had my two other partners were helping me with those divisions. So
Sure.
everything else fell onto me really when they left. So I had to take on all those. But Baruch Hashem, I was hungry and ambitious, like I said, and pushed, and Hashem blessed us.
For sure. So
And that was
yeah, go on.
that's just starting off within the first year. Then over time, obviously, we had to adapt. Magazines went out. People were started going online, so we had to adapt. Times change online. We started selling online, doing a nice amount of business on our websites. Like I said, we used to always focus on being the lowest price, and that was the same thing also with besides the magazine when we started online as well. That was really how we got consumers, is just by being normally the lowest price. I mean, some advertising techniques and whatever different angles that we had, but it was mostly about pricing really with consumers. There used to be something also called back in the day, still is a little bit, but people don't really use it much, price comparison shops. So you literally were able to go to a site, let's say, for example, Price Grabber, Shopping.com, Visitor, Shopzilla. There's a whole bunch of these sites that they had. It was very big back in the day, Deal Time. And you search for a product, and you were able to sort from lowest price to highest price. So I would say 75-80% of the customers really, and that was the biggest marketing technique back in the day. That was the biggest way people marketed. Most of the customers would go to the first and the lowest price. So you had to really be on top of the pricing and constantly be the lowest price. So customers called you first, and you got the first customer. So we adapted to that. And then obviously with times, we started growing, doing a lot of volume. We said that we can't focus just about pricing. We have to focus more on availability and inventory and stuff that we have that other people don't have, and advertising in different angles. So in about 2007, I bought out my last active partner. I was then solo. I bought off another company back in the day. It was called D-Buys. There were a company also, a Syrian guy actually, who I bought. He had numerous different companies. They were working to go public, and they were doing a nice amount of sales. They weren't focusing, like I said, they weren't focusing on lowest pricing. They were doing nice advertising techniques and stuff. But they were having a hard time to go public, and it fell apart last minute. And I bought them out. So we started focusing on advertising a different way, and not focusing just on the pricing. That was in 2007. We adapted a little bit our marketing techniques and stuff. Started doing some creative stuff also back then with advertising, and it was Google. We went on a pilot program, which Baruch Hashem we did very well with. Right when they started with the AdWords. Which was basically just advertising, right. So we had like the lock-in. They had a pilot program, which we had locked in for like 2-3 years at a crazy rate. And like anyone who did any searches, we came up number one.
Oh wow, that's great.
Yeah, so it was from Hashem, sent from Hashem, and really someone I knew at Google who worked one of the first employees, and he called me for a pilot program which they had, which was just like I said, really from Hashem, and that built us up. We started doing a lot of sales. Then I decided about a year later that, you know what, we're doing so much business and we're buying so much volume, and there's so many other Syrians and guys who are mail order guys and website and guys who are doing web business. Let me just start wholesaling to them, because we have the inventory anyhow. We're buying the inventory, buying, shopping them. We're importing 95% of it, 95% of it we were importing from overseas back then. And we had buying power, so I said let's start trying to wholesale to customers.
Sure.
So I opened up a wholesale division. It was back in the day. It was called F&E Trading, and we started doing wholesale. And Baruch Hashem, it grew. I opened up a division in Miami, which was focusing on Latin America. So I started doing a lot of export also, because also with the business back then, it was big. It still is even now. It was a big business with currency because I imported and exported. So you're able to play the currency game in an industry where you're making 3, 4, 5 points. The currency can swing 10 to 20%. So on import and export, you can either take advantage of it based on the US dollar. If it's weak or strong, you could either import or export. So we used that to our advantage. We were exporting a lot to Latin America and buying from other countries where and other places where we were able to source. Because a lot of times even sourcing was a problem, but then also besides sourcing, a lot of times the price was much cheaper in a different country,
right,
because of the exchange rate dropping or whatever it is, and the manufacturer's not adapting in time. So we used that to our advantage. We were importing, started wholesaling a lot. Then obviously again the times changed. We had to adapt. We opened up in 2013 actually. Apple approached us. At that time we were doing really just cameras, just photo stuff. Like I said, cameras used to be a huge business. Still is a nice business, but Hashem, it's just very few people doing it. It's much less and much less players. So we're still doing a nice amount of camera business even today, but Hashem. But we started. Apple approached us actually. They wanted another distributor. It was for Latin America. It started off as they wanted a distributor for Latin America, and we had our Miami office, which was focusing just on the Latin market. I had a few salespeople, from the industry, which were there for years. And I guess Apple heard that we were Baruch Hashem, a nice sized company, and had the ability to buy. So they approached us. They opened us. It was actually in August 2013. They opened us up as distributors. And the way it worked with Apple is you had to buy. It was back then. It was 5,000 MacBooks in order to hit the highest tier.
Sure.
And the higher the tier it was, they had lower pricing if you bought more. So 5,000 was the highest tier, and it was I think then it was 7% you got off. They call it DAC, which is basically like a list price that they have for wholesalers, and you got 7% off of DAC.
Right.
So just to give you an example, back then it was called the MD101. It was the hottest laptop.
Sure.
So we used to sell it like crazy in thousands. We used to buy on the street for like $770, $780.
Okay.
The dealer's net was about $755, $760, but that's only if you hit the highest tier. So if you didn't hit the highest tier, your cost was about $815, $820. You're losing money up front, right?
Right.
And the way they worked Apple also is you paid the $815, $820 up. Actually, it was even higher, much higher, because they had other programs and rebates and stuff. You were paying $1,001. I remember that actually with the DAC. You were paying $1,001 up front, but depending on how much volume you got rebates up to up to about $250 was the highest amount if you hit 5,000 MacBooks. At the time, we were doing a decent amount of MacBooks, but we were buying from other distributors, and we were doing about maybe 3,000 MacBooks a quarter. We were doing it was really almost all on the MD101, which was the SKU of the time, and we were doing a couple of thousand a quarter. And I said it's not worth it, to front all this money, take a $250 loss up front. Then how do we know if we're even going to hit the 5,000 tier? If we don't hit it, we're actually even losing money after the rebate. Plus, they're holding your money for months till you get that $250 back. It doesn't help your cash flow, obviously. And it just doesn't make sense to buy from Apple. So we just continued buying through distributors. They came to 5-6 months later, March 2014, Apple came to us like, hey, we opened you guys up and you didn't do anything. You didn't buy anything from us. Either start buying some stuff, we have to do some business, or we're going to shut you down and we're going to open another distributor to look for. So we decided at that time, hey, Apple's the biggest company in the world. We have to just give it a shot. Let's go all in, do 5,000. Even though 5,000 at that time was a lot for us to do 5,000 MacBooks in a quarter. We said, I don't want to lose this opportunity, and we have to give it a try. Let's at least give it a shot. So we started. We bought the 5,000 MacBooks. Making $750, $755 was our net cost. And like I said, we were buying them at $770, $780 at the time on the street. So we weren't even making that much extra, and we had to do much more volume. And
that's not a big margin. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, Baruch Hashem, since we took the position and we were aggressive, like Hashem, like it does plenty of times. Hashem blesses you when you have it, and you do your shtadlut, you do your part. We were aggressive because we had the inventory. We started pushing it in a lot of other places. We were much more aggressive. We had 5,000 stock. We said, hey, we got to move these laptops. So we started pushing it, and Baruch Hashem sold great. Within 2-3 quarters after that, we did 40,000 MacBooks. In a quarter, we were doing 40,000 MacBooks.
5,000 was the original tier.
5,000 original, which was way too much for us. So because we were doing 2,000 to 3,000 at most, about 3,000 in a quarter, and we ended up doing within 3 quarters later we did 40,000, and then for years we were doing 40 to 60,000 MacBooks per quarter. And Baruch Hashem, that's how it grew. The Apple relationship grew, and that really took us to the next level. Once we started doing Apple, we started doing other products: Dell, Microsoft, Lenovo, Samsung. A ton of the other big manufacturers approach us, or we approach them to do distribution because we had the Apple, and we were able to tell them, hey, we're Apple distributors, so it was pretty easy to get open with a lot of them. So we started doing distribution for a lot of the companies, and we expanded to other categories besides just cameras. So we started focusing on really wholesale, and distribution became our biggest part of the business, and that really became our focus. To do the distribution. So we adapted once again. We also had in 2013 websites, marketplaces. Amazon was exploding. 2012, 2013, we started focusing on marketplaces. So we constantly had to adapt and shift with the times. And it wasn't easy. It was a totally new business for us. When you're used to doing something one way and you know everything about one thing, and then all of a sudden you have to change, especially the larger you get. You learn, B'ezrat Hashem, when you have a company, when you're small, nimble, and you have 1 or 2 people, you and your partner, you can change directions, adapt quickly. As you start growing, the more people you have in the larger the company you have, it's not that easy to adapt. We had 100, 150 employees at the time,
right, and
you're constantly changing totally different directions, focusing on something different. So it was very difficult, and Baruch Hashem, we were able to adapt and change. And we adapted and we shifted the business focus, and we changed with the times. That was just as far as adapting and changing with the business and industry. But I had plenty of other times, which obviously business was very difficult. Recession in 2008, we had, and then 2010 actually was my biggest challenge maybe in my life financially. There was a company called 6 Avenue Electronics back then. It was one of the biggest electronics stores in the East Coast area. They had about 20 to 30 stores, and they were big stores, 25, 30,000 square feet stores. They were in New York, New Jersey, and they had one store in Philadelphia and Delaware. And I was buying a lot from them on the wholesale end, and they were getting crazy prices because the manufacturers, even till today, the manufacturers always want retailers to have, because they want their products on display. That's how they advertise. Obviously, almost everyone buys on Amazon now, but the customer has to see the product. So the manufacturers really support, like a Best Buy or a retailer. They give them a lot of programs and very cheap pricing because they need to keep them in business for the consumers to go hands-on to see the product. So they were getting very crazy pricing, and I was buying a lot from them. And I decided they were going through a challenging time, financial issues, and I decided to invest in the company, and I bought 50% of the company from then. Make a long story short, it was very complicated. My partners, they weren't as wise, and they had a very different mindset. Also, they were owners of all the buildings. They were their own tenants, so it was very difficult. I kept on telling them, let's close, because I was doing just the online business, and I didn't have any expenses of overhead and carrying these huge stores. So I told them, let's close the stores, but it was a fight and a struggle on each store because they were the tenant. If they shut the store down, then they would lose the real estate property. So it was a fight with partners constantly, literally on every single store. It took forever till they finally realized, hey, we really have to do it. We went down to one store. Things started working out, but it was too little, too late, and I lost an immense amount, a lot of money. Everything I had made until that point, plus a lot more. I took mortgages on my homes, even put my own personal money back into the business, everything, and lost everything. So I wasn't even starting from scratch. I was starting from negative, tens of millions of dollars. And not only that, everyone I knew in the industry, it was a known thing. Everyone knew that I invested in 6 Avenue Electronics and I lost. So even the distributors and the wholesalers and people who were selling me were scared to even give me credit, which made it 100 times more difficult because they knew that I was in a bad situation. So it made it 100 times more difficult because now I can't even buy from these guys unless I pay them up front. They don't want to sell me. They don't want to give me credit anymore because the whole industry knew that I'm in a bad shape. So it was a very difficult time, but I didn't want to give up. Our bank even at the time told us, just file bankruptcy. It doesn't make sense. Your numbers don't make sense. File bankruptcy and that's it. We're done. And I refused to. I owed people money and I didn't want to screw anyone. I wanted to do the right thing. And like my father always told me, never hurt someone else. And Baruch Hashem, I worked, took one day at a time. It was very difficult digging out of a huge hole, huge hole. But I was not going to give up. I kept on pushing one day at a time to just keep alive, literally to keep alive. Even the employees and everyone, they all felt it. Everyone knew obviously it was so difficult, but I would come in every single day smiling with energy and everything. Like so many employees even told me later, I don't even know how you continued or went on, but you used to come in and just give us this energy and positive and everything and just push forward. It just kept all of us going. And Baruch Hashem, a few years, 1 year at a time, we kept on slowly digging out of the hole more and more. And you don't give up and you keep on trying and working. You do your ishtadut and your part. Hashem blesses you, really. If you really do your ishtadut and your part, the beracha is going to come.
Hi guys, I hate to interrupt in the middle of the episode. I'm going to make this quick. If you're enjoying so far, please leave a like, but most importantly, share this with anybody who you think would enjoy it as well. We're trying to grow the podcast as big as possible, so anything you would be able to do would help a lot. So thank you so much, and back to the episode. Wow, okay, that's a lot to unpack. You lost everything. What year was that? How old were you?
This was 2010, 2011. I was about 32 years old at the time.
And you had children in school yet? Or?
Yes.
Wow.
I had 3-4 children at the time.
How did you deal with that? Can you go a little more into detail on how you built back, right? Not only did you lose your reputation, but you had, like you said, a negative reputation.
Yeah.
How did you build back from that? Why did you choose to stay in the business? Most people probably would have, said, this is not for me. I'm going to explore different avenues. What was going through your mind at the time?
So a few things. First of all, like I said, I owed people money and I didn't want to hurt anyone.
Right.
Also, I wasn't a quitter. I was not going to give up. I knew I had confidence in myself and I knew that if I don't give up and I continue at it, Hashem will Bezat Hashem bless me. And I can't give up. My wife also, Baruch Hashem, Alav Shalom, Naomi, then pushed me also a lot, and she helped. She was my backbone and everything. And I said, you just can't. You don't give up in life. You have to keep on going. You got to keep on going, and this is what I know. And if I do my part and work, I just know it's a matter of time where Bezat Hashem, it's just a numbers game, and eventually I'll become positive again. But it was very difficult. I mean, back then we had a $200,000 payroll per week even, and even just covering the payroll we couldn't even do it. We literally came into a negative account every single day. I was selling goods, even taking a $30,000-$40,000 loss at a night sometimes, selling goods to Hong Kong or Japan or Asia or Dubai, just to get cash the next day to cover payroll. It was literally a miracle. We would cover payroll like the last minute. We would get a wire from a customer, this, that. Everything was last minute. Hashem, miracles after miracle after miracle, which just kept the lights open even, and employees able to getting them their salary and everything last minute. And like I said, we really took like 30 huge hits just in one night, even just selling goods. And it was usually the hot goods that you had to sell because no one wanted to touch anything else. And we took big hits just we needed the cash in order to keep the lights open and pay employees their salaries and continue going. And it was not easy. But I refused to give up. Hashem really blessed me because we kept on working and kept on pushing, and
for sure.
And Hashem did his part.
For sure. And tell me, looking back now at that experience, losing everything and building back up from negative, like you said, how has that changed your outlook, your perspective, the way you approach business?
A lot. First of all, I mean, I felt that much better and stronger that Baruch Hashem, I did it, and I was able to reestablish myself. Also, I mean, my vendors who were selling me, who were giving me credit, and they cut me on the credit because they knew I was going through through big financial issues. I pay them every single penny back, and won their trust 100 times over. So they were feeding me even more, giving me much larger credit lines after a few years.
That's great. It sounds like you really took that horrible experience and you really grew from it, but you also realized why it was necessary for you and your business, right?
Yes.
So I want to shift a little bit in towards community involvement. You're very involved in Yeshiva Flatbush, and it seems like it's very important to you. Can you tell me why you value the community in terms of the community's network, but also getting involved in organizations and schools and things like that? So tell me about that.
Well, first of all, it started from my father. He always preached. Like I said, we were not doing well at all, but my father always preached. He always saw people donating a lot, and he saw it in shuls and stuff. And he always said that yeshivas are really our future. And the kids and they're all struggling. All the yeshivas are struggling, and the monies and donations should really go more towards yeshivas. So that was the mindset that I had really growing up my whole life from my father. And then obviously I had three, four kids actually. Now, Baruch Hashem, I have 10 kids total. 6 from my first wife. My second wife had 3 of her own, and then we have 1 together. So I had a whole bunch of kids in the yeshiva. And so I was more fully invested. And my wife, Alav Shalom, Naomi also, she was very involved in Yeshiva Flatbush. She was on every board, and she was the president of Ladies Auxiliary at the time when she was Niftat, actually. She was very involved, so she pulled me in to the yeshiva, and I started making some donations and getting involved even beforehand. I sponsored some stuff while she was involved. She literally gave up her whole life, and she contributed, did all obviously for free, and she volunteered her time, and she was there all day, all night, all day, nights, working and giving to the kids, and it was so important to her, and it pulled me in, and when she was niftar in 2017, I decided to actually to donate and name the Ladies Auxiliary after her. She was the president of Ladies Auxiliary when she was niftar, and that was the first large donation which I did to Yeshiva Flatbush. And over the years, Baruch Hashem, Hashem blessed me, and I was doing more, and I wanted to help them step up more, and did help them because they're doing expansion now. They're building a new building for the elementary school. Bezat Hashem, it's going to be a huge, nice extension. They bought the post office, another building, and the community is growing at such a large pace, which it's needed. It's really needed.
Sure.
Baruch Hashem, and I always believe that you have to give your maaser. I think when you give your tzedakah, it comes back 10 times fold. It really does, and I've seen it. And Baruch Hashem, I was able to step up and help them. But I'm involved with a lot of other yeshivas, even Ateret Torah, which I actually went to Ateret as a child. I was a black hat. My siblings are all black hat. I went there as a child throughout, all the way through high school. And it wasn't exactly for me, but I still love it. I still have it. And I think it's very important for the foundation that it gave me and everything. I support them a lot, Baruch Hashem. Magen David, even Magen David Yeshiva, Safe, the Center. So many organizations in the community which are amazing, which Baruch Hashem very well able to help with. I made an organization after my wife, Naomi's Legacy, it's called, which we help because it was very dear and close to my heart with the orphans. Obviously, my heart and hurting so much and experiencing it firsthand with the pain that my kids had and the challenge that they had losing their mother at such a young age. I had kids between 2 to 16 years old, 6 kids overnight, where I knew nothing, literally knew nothing about raising kids or anything besides for working and making money. My wife she was just amazing. She handled anything and everything. She paid all the bills, even raised the kids. We did construction, even she did everything. She took care of everything. I literally just worked, did my part, and she handled everything else. And all of a sudden, literally from 1 second to the next, my life turned upside down, and I'm responsible now for these 6 kids, which I don't know what to do or how to raise them or anything. I didn't know really any. I didn't have the skills for it. Hashem threw it at me just like that. So it was very close and dear to my heart, and I opened up this organization, Yomi's Legacy, after in her memory, and we help. I help. Baruch Hashem, we help a lot of orphans and kids from troubled homes, and we're very involved with that. And this community, like I said, is really just amazing. So many great organizations. It's unheard of, especially like a community like ours, to have so many people where any problem, any issue, or anything that you have someone you can lean onto. This really doesn't exist like that in any other community in the world. Really, it doesn't exist like that, where you have so many organizations, schools, SBH, Bikur Cholim, medical stuff, the center even, just for kids to go there to hang out and not assimilate and be on the streets. It really doesn't exist. So thank God our community has all these amazing organizations, and it's great to be involved and to try to help them. And Hashem bless us to be able to help them, and I want to do my part to be able to help them for my kids and for future generations, my kids and the whole community, but Hashem at whole.
As I'm sure you noticed, the change in audio quality that happened about a minute ago, one of our microphones cut out mid-show. Thank God we were recording a backup. It doesn't sound as high quality, but Avi was sharing some great insights here, and I wanted to include them. So please bear with us with the rest of the episode. We have just under 10 minutes left. Thank you.
Sure, very nice. I love how it's it's a fundamental value to you. It's a value that's fundamental to you. So I want to shift towards the advice that you might have for young adults today, nowadays, who are looking obviously with that drive for success, and maybe they want to get into a business, but they're worried about. Maybe they want to get into a business that they're passionate about, but they're worried that it might not bring in enough money. What do you say to people who want to follow their passion, but also know that it might not pay the bills?
So first of all, you have to understand and always have the big picture in your mind. You have to understand that especially these days, kids want, you see social media, you see these people and they're rolling, making millions of dollars, huge, and you think everything is quick and easy. But you have to know that in life, unless maybe if it's illegal, then it's quick and easy. But anything legal or anything that you really want to make money, just like anything else in life, not even just making money in Panasa, you have to do your part and you have to work and grow and be patient. It's not an overnight thing, and and it's hard, obviously, because like you said, you got to pay the bills. Going through it, you have to pay the bills. It's not just a challenge of don't give up. It's a matter of moving forward and being able to pay your bills. But you have to keep the long-term picture and balance that, obviously, with being able to live and everything. And no, don't give up, because it's a long road. Also, it's very important. The kids, they think they think that, like I said, everything is just quick and easy, and they want to go for home runs or grand slams. Don't go for my biggest belief is go single. They add up, and once in a while you're going to bloop and hit a home run also when you're constantly hitting singles. But you have to keep trying, and as long as you're moving forward and making whatever, keep on going for your single. Even though they're little scores and they don't excite you at the time, but they add up. And when you do them, accidentally there's going to be home runs that hit you. So just keep on pushing, and even if it doesn't excite you, even if it's little monies and stuff, everything adds up. Everything adds up. You cannot give up, and it's very important. Obviously, your work ethic is so important, extremely important. Things, like I said, it's not easy. Good things don't come easy. They don't come easy, and you got to keep the big picture in mind. Also, you have to know that it's so important. Your name and your reputation out there. It's extremely important to building it up long term.
For sure.
Again, that's also part of looking at the long term picture, because if you don't care about your name and reputation, a lot of times you can make a quick, easy buck, but it ruins you in the long term. So you have to keep that balance and keep in mind that long term, your name and reputation, if you do it and you keep it and it's clean everything, it's going to pay off and it's going to pay its dividends.
We have a signature question. We try to pinpoint in our guests' careers something that we call the momentum moment. It's basically where you see what you're doing and you see that it's picking up steam. You're gaining that momentum, and that if you continue, you will in some form succeed. So I want to know from you, tell me about one or a couple of your momentum moments. How do you try to replicate those?
So there were a few of them, like I mentioned, for example, even back when we were mail order, we had the Google campaign that we had. Then when Apple opened us up, Baruch Hashem, and we grew a lot. And when you see something good, you have to ride it also. Nothing good lasts forever, saying, and it's true. You have to push it as much as you can and take advantage of it and work hard. I literally used to work for, I'm talking about almost 20 years. I'm not exaggerating, 18 minimum to 20 hours a day. Because I was working also with all different countries and the time differences. I was working with Hong Kong, Asia, Dubai, Europe, Singapore, Australia, all over the world. And I was buying and selling. So, and it was a lot, most of it was me even back in the day. Now, Baruch Hashem, we have 15, 20 buyers, and I'm not too involved in the buying stuff besides for the larger deals. But then I was buying, and like I said, we were importing and exporting, so it was all times of the day. So I was working 20 hours a day. At night, I'd be working crazy late because I had to hit Asia and Australia and that time zone. So I just didn't give up and put in crazy hours for literally 18, 19 years, 18 to 20 hours a day. But now I'm not working as hard, and thank God it's also so important. I built a team around me, and unfortunately when my wife was niftada, it forced me to really delegate. I had a great team even before, but I was so involved and very hands-on on literally like almost everything, and even day-to-day, regular day-to-day stuff. I didn't take advantage of all the good people that I had around me. And when she was niftada, unfortunately, it forced me. I was focusing on my kids and just surviving,
Right.
And it forced me to lean on my team, and it was a blessing in disguise in that aspect, at least, that something good came out of it. That Baruch Hashem, I realized that to keep growing and to go to the next levels, keep on going to the next levels, you need to surround yourself with the right people and trust them, and keep on building a good team around you. It's all about who you build around you. It's very important because a certain amount, no matter how good, smart, hardworking you are, or anything, you're one person. There's a certain amount that a person can accomplish. So it's really all about the people that you surround yourself. You have to surround yourself with the right people. You have to also enable them and trust them, and let them help you grow. And Baruch Hashem, I was blessed to have a great team around me, and they're just amazing. Really helped take us to the next business, to the next level, and keep growing, Baruch Hashem.
Amazing, Avi. Thank you so much for coming on, for sharing your words of inspiration, your insight. I really appreciate it. I'm sure the community will as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and hopefully with that Hashem it'll help inspire some of the younger kids. That's our goal.
For sure. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Momentum with Avi Houllou. In this episode, we discussed the importance of taking small wins and not trying to go for the home run every time, taking calculated risks, and building up a strong reputation. Avi's remarkable story of building up a strong business, losing everything, and building it back up again is a stark reminder that anything can be achieved with enough grit, perseverance, and persistence. Avi also emphasized the importance of building a good, strong team and staying true to your reputation. I hope you found Avi's insights as inspiring as I did. If you enjoyed this episode, I encourage you to check out my conversation with Alan Levy. Alan is the founder and CEO of Alchemy Works, a digital marketing consulting company that works with brands like Disney and SiriusXM, helping them manage their customer relationships. Alan, just like Avi, faced many setbacks and was forced to adapt many times throughout his career with new technologies in the digital marketing space. If Avi's story of building back from setbacks and adapting in real time spoke to you, you're going to love my conversation with Alan. You can find it in the description somewhere on screen or on our profile on any platform. Again, that's the episode with Alan Levy, the CEO of Alchemy Works. With that said, guys, thank you so much for watching this episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like, share it with somebody who you think would also enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you thought about this episode, and until next time.